Where Is It Written was the song I attempted to play. I didn't listen to the song before doing it, but it was good enough. I'm not going to be perfectionist over that. That's not the point of this video. The reason why I played that song to begin this video was the theme of the song was, where is it written? It's about opening your mind. It's like asking, why are things the way they are? Not being told something is a certain way without questioning it, without evaluating, okay, I'm being told this, but what does that actually mean to me? Like why is this way? Instead of just accepting what you're being told, wonder about it. If we have a mind for a reason, we have a mind to fly, as the song said, we have a mind to question, ask questions, and learn, and do all that. We also have a mind to speak. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the rejection of that mind to speak and that mind to think, because I'm going to delve deep into my own Lilith placement, which is Lilith in the sign of Gemini. I have a Gemini stellium, Venus, Mars, descendant, and Lilith, all in Gemini. That's a lot of Gemini energy. And Lilith in Gemini is a really, really big part of it. So I'm going to be discussing that very, very deeply in this particular episode of the Vastness of Google podcast. Welcome to another episode of this podcast where I discuss all things information with personal insight. Any topic, whatever it is, astrology, I have an idea to do videos on authenticity themed videos, like the limiting beliefs that keep you from authenticity, the steps to become authentic, because I'm very, very big into authenticity. And I do want to be honest that there was somebody on YouTube who talked a lot about authenticity, and she's not making videos as reliably as she used to, because of her life and the things that she has going on in her life. So I want to pick off where she left off and do them in my own way. So you'll see those videos. I also want to do a video on Generation X and Generation Y and Generation Z. Look at those two generations separately. And what are the issues with these generations, and how can they heal? And I'll also be talking, kind of overlapping some of the same things when I get to the Pluto generations on different episodes of this podcast later on when I get to the Pluto generations, which is going to be a very fascinating topic to delve into when it comes to that. Pluto through the signs, impacting the generations. So anyway, enough about that. I want to delve in. So with Lilith and Gemini, Lilith is Lilith is basically your shadows. What you feel ashamed to express. What there is shame and judgment for you, like you can't express it, and you're learning to integrate the energy and balance the energy and heal the shadows and express this energy unapologetically. It's also what others reject you for expressing. And I was watching a video about Lilith, and she was like, even if it's well balanced and people are still going to reject you, like, I find that so sad. Because it's like, you can't heal your shadows. There's no way of healing those shadows. There's no way of mending those wounds. So that others are just gonna reject it right then and there. Even though you've healed it, even though you're more integrated with what you're doing. I mean, that's sad. There should be a good, end to the story, resolution to the problem. Like, oh, people reject you, but this is how you you can heal this so that others don't reject you, so that you can just not really care what others think, because Lilith does not care what others think. Adam and Eve, Lilith was the first wife before Eve, and she rejected Adam for something that he wanted from her. And there's just something so empowering about Lilith when we step into our Lilith shadow and we own the part of ourself that is very, unapologetic to be ourselves, and willing to go against authority or societal norms just to be ourselves, and just to be the wild, authentic part of who we are, is really what this is about. And when I do the Chiron through the houses placements, I already did Chiron in the first house. That was a really, really profound video. This is another video that is very similar to that. So if you enjoy this video, I would definitely recommend checking out the video where I talk about Chiron in the first house. I'll do Chiron through the houses, Chiron through the signs, and I'll also do Lilith through the signs later. In a series when I eventually get there, I'll do Lilith through the rest of the signs. But I want to talk to the people who have Lilith and Gemini, including myself, with compassion, with love, with understanding, with, knowing who they are and holding space for them. So, I am going to now get into it without further ado, because there's a lot to cover here. The very, very first thing with Lilith and Gemini is you may have felt wounded in your life around your communication, around your speech. Like there's inherent wounds that you can't speak your mind, that you can't speak your truth, that you can't express yourself fully and authentically the way that you want to express in intellectual ways. There may be wounds around how others perceive you, how others see you. There may be wounds around that. Wounds around how others look at you when it comes to your communication. What others think based off of what you say, what others perceive and believe about you based off of what you say. Because, people are going to form all kinds of opinions about what you're going to say and how you're going to say it, and the delivery of how you say it, and the choice of words that you use, and the sort of language that you use. And it's about one being true to themselves in terms of their ideas. Being true to yourself with your ideas. Like, I had these ideas, and I'm not going to let others define me or change my ideas. I'm going to be sovereign with my ideas and claim that these ideas are right and realistic, and that they are, that you're validating your own ideas. You don't need anyone else to validate your own ideas to make sure if they're worth it or not. You can validate that within yourself. So, others may reject you for just simply speaking your mind, expressing what you want to from your heart. Others may reject you for expressing what you want to express in the mind. That may be a huge thing with this placement. Is you have ideas and you express them, but then others just shut it down and say, you can't say that, you can't express that, you have to stay quiet, you have to stay neutral, stay small, not express your mind. Like, your ideas are dangerous and you can't express those ideas. You may have gotten rejected for talking too much. And not saying the right things. I guess it's been a wound my whole life. I guess when you hear my videos, there's a certain frequency to my voice and my communication that is very like unafraid to express my ideas, and I'm not going to apologize for my communication and expressing what I want to express. It is the way I am, and I'm going to embrace it. And this goes back to a comment that I was, receiving, and I keep going back to this, where somebody said that I was a nerd for my communication. The only person who said this, one of the only people who said this, is that I can't express my mind, that I can't express my ideas, because I'm somebody who's very smart and very bright and very intelligent, but also comes off as just being socially awkward. Well, that's their opinion, and I'm not going to let them get the better of me. They may think that I'm a nerd. That's their opinion, but I'm not. I'm not. It's perfectly okay for me to express my ideas. And most everybody who comments under the videos where I do this is a positive, open-hearted, decent individual who respects my ideas. So, talking too much, just oversharing, overspeaking, giving out too much information, too many ideas, too many thoughts, too much of all that going on. Like sharing, just talking too much, as I said before, and then overthinking, there's talking too much, and then there's like, you're thinking way too much in your head. You're getting so caught up in your head. You're so caught up in the intellect and your ideas that, like this person said, and projected their own viewpoints onto me, said, I set my goals for next month, eating healthy, helping family, doing all this stuff, basically saying that I am not worthy of putting myself out in social media and expressing my truth with my voice. As what this person was, saying in the message that I took from this one comment that I got. And I responded back in a way where I was like, no, I am worthy of being who I am, and you're not going to judge me for this. Like, if I get judgmental comments, I will link the song I posted about a song for you, and I will speak my truth and stand up to every judgmental comment that I get, because they're commenting under my videos. It is my channel, and I deserve to respond back to them and do all that. So, and then being too smart, being too intelligent, being overly intelligent. Asking questions from a place of curiosity. Like, these people are not asking questions to ruffle feathers. They're not asking questions because they want to hurt others, or cause rifts, or if that's even the word for it, cause conflict with others, upset others, do all of that. Like, they're not asking questions for these reasons. They're not speaking their minds for these reasons. They're just trying to express themselves. Like, all they're doing is they're trying to speak their truth, trying to speak their mind. And yet we reject them for doing this. This is a very, very sad reality that we live in, where we reject others' ideas and others' minds. And this is a very, very sad placement. All the Lilith placements are sad because it's like, you just try to be yourself, and yet everybody's just so resistant to it. So, putting up boundaries like, no, you can't do this. And then conditioning into you shutting down who you are and being small and not expressing what you genuinely want to express. So it's about asking questions and embracing the act of asking questions, not as a way to, again, but to but to just ask questions out of curiosity and embrace this quality. It's a good thing that your mind is sharp. It's a good thing that your mind is bright, that your mind is intelligent, that your mind is open and alive and open to learning, where you're asking questions and you're willing to learn. It's a good thing. It is not something to be ashamed of. It is not something to feel bad about. It's not something to hide away from the world. It is a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. And that's what you're learning to accept and embrace this life. So, there may be this, just this hyper awareness that you may feel because you were conditioned into not over speaking or oversharing or sharing your ideas. When you see this in others, when you see others sharing their ideas and being their verbal, authentic selves with their intellectual communication and them expressing what they want to in that way, you get very, very uncomfortable. There's this discomfort that comes up where you are rejecting those individuals because others reject you. It's like you're naturally going to reject those that have the same issues you have and you were rejected for, because it's like, I'm uncomfortable with this. I don't want to see this. I don't want to hear this. Because this makes me feel uncomfortable because I was wounded like this. I was shamed. I was put down. I was judged for not being able to speak my mind. So that's kind of, the mindset that you kind of, get into with that. But also feeling compassion for those who speak their mind. Really feeling like I feel so much compassion for those who want to speak their truth, speak their mind, share their ideas. Like, I am going to do this unapologetically in my life, and I don't care what others think. I'm going to express my ideas about astrology, about, history, about whatever I want to express. And I'm going to surround myself with people who are open to that. And most everybody in my life is open to it. I mean, I have Mercury in Taurus that helps me to stay more grounded and more, earthy and more deliberate in my speech, or I'm not just going on and on and on and on and on, because Mercury in Taurus doesn't do that. I have another podcast episode where I talk about Mercury in Taurus in depth. Like, Mercury in Taurus gets to the point. It doesn't go off on things. It just tells you what you need to know enough. It just tells you what something means, and then it allows you to explore it for yourself. So that also helps with that. Very sensitive to those who are very indulgent in their verbal self-expression, or those who talk too much. Just very, very, like, there is this almost cringing, insecure discomfort with those who talk too much. Like this, like I feel uncomfortable. But I also really empathize with these people who talk too much and are rejected. Like, I had a friend who didn't have this placement, but talked a lot and was shut down for how much he was talking, interrupted, told that he couldn't talk, limited in his ideas and how much he could talk. Like, I feel so sorry for this friend. I feel so sorry for this friend having to go through its whole childhood being judged and also shamed at times for talking too much. I really strongly empathize with this friend really hugely. So, okay. Or people that are more intelligent than who they actually are, who appear more rejecting the people who are more intelligent than they actually are, that they try to put themselves on as this really, really wise, smart person. They're actually not this. In childhood, growing up, these individuals may have been cut off from using their words, told that they shouldn't say certain things, that their ideas are wrong, that there was, that they couldn't speak their mind. They were probably interrupted by parents because they cut them off, because it's like, what you're saying is so unrealistic and so weird and so bad and so not right and so not what reality is and not what the thing actually is, that I'm going to come in and then I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to come in and interrupt you because what you're saying is not right. So I'm going to come in and just shut down your communication. You were interrupted by your parents probably, where you were speaking something and you were speaking your mind, and then parents or even siblings interrupted you from speaking your mind. And so you may have also been looked down upon for speaking your mind. Just really, rejected for this. Maybe told to be quiet. You couldn't be your verbal self. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't, you were told to be quiet. Like, you have this idea, but you can't say it. Be quiet. Stop talking. So, this is very, very sad. It's very sad. Maybe you were shamed for your communication, shame for speaking out, shame for asking really, really difficult questions about about life, about certain situations in life, about certain people in your life. Shamed about asking questions, or being knowledgeable and intelligent, because, Lilith and Gemini, you are so knowledgeable and you have such a bright, beautiful, smart mind. Don't let others take that away from you. Like your intelligence and your ideas for who you are and what you want to express is something that nobody can take away from you. Nobody can take that away from you. So don't let others judge you or shame you or put you down or reject you and condition you out of speaking your mind and speaking your truth. So that's a very, very important thing to consider with this placement. And then also, there's this message that there's some truths out there that you just have to be quiet about. Like, I'm not going to go quiet about the truths that I want to speak, that I feel in my heart and my soul, that are important truths to speak to. I'm not going to be quiet about them. I'm going to be assertive and speak to these things that I want to talk about. So certain things can be spoke aloud. Being silent. Just being silent, like not being allowed to talk. Being trained to stay small, be silent, and just see things. Just see things without seriously saying them. Really? I'm just sitting and I'm just seeing what's going on around me. Seeing every little detail, what is going on around me. Seeing all the events and all the people and all the settings. And not being able to speak to them, not being able to share what I think about them, share what I feel about them, share my ideas and thoughts and theories and opinions about them. To just have to accept things as they are without putting words to them, without speaking to them. Just be quiet about it in order to keep the peace. I found this to be the case when I went to my grandparents' house, because I would constantly feel like I couldn't just speak my mind because others would be rejecting, and it would cause all these arguments. Like there would be this criticism, this laughing, this shame, this dislike of me expressing my truth about things that I had issues with. And so I was taught, reinforce, like, to just accept things. And you can't speak to them. You just have to accept them. And you can't speak your mind. You can't say what you honestly think about them. Like, it's dangerous. It's not right. It's not, it's not for your highest good. You don't know what, you don't know what is for my highest good or not, because you're not living in my skin. You're not living in my body. So how do you know that? How do you know that? You don't. Only I know what is the highest good for myself. So, maybe your minds have been invalidated. Well, you were told that your thoughts don't matter. That your thoughts do not carry any weight, any substance, that they're not important, that they're ridiculous, trivial thoughts that are insignificant and not worth saying. And you were like, you were put down for your thoughts, that you couldn't express your thoughts freely. Your minds were invalidated. You maybe not taught. You were probably not taught to trust your own judgment. This is sad. You were taught that your judgment was wrong. Your judgment was flawed. Your judgment is not realistic, not practical, not real and right. You're taught that your judgment was wrong, and you should just rely on others' judgment. You should just mistrust and totally neglect and put away your own judgment. Just discard that and sacrifice it, and just go along with others' judgment. Even if you don't believe it to be true, even if you don't believe it to be right, just go along with others' judgment. Like, that is a sad state of affairs to live. And not being able to trust your own mind. Not being able to trust what you are feeling and what you're thinking in your own mind also. There's this conflict here between what is true for you, you may know what is true for you in your life, with what you're told, and then you may invalidate your own reality. You may be like, no, I am wrong. I am inaccurate. I am not worthy of speaking my ideas about things. And my view of reality, my understanding of the world from an intellectual perspective is wrong. And if I speak this truth, if I share these ideas, I will be rejected. I will be shamed. I will be, like sayonara goodbye. Relationships will move away from my life. Like I won't have very good relationships if I go this direction. Okay. So there is this, just putting others' interpretations of, rejecting your own reality, and this is from the outside in. It's not you being confident, you being self-assured in your own ideas and your own reality. Now you are putting that aside because it's not right and others will not like it, and then handing over your power and your control and your dominance and whatever to others' ideas, to others' reality, to others' perception of you, to others' interpretations of reality, and putting it on a higher pedestal. Because that apparently is the truth, and your reality is apparently not true. Your intelligence may have been threatening to others. Like you're, too smart for your own good, kind of thing. Maybe being smart and being intelligent makes you dangerous. It makes you dangerous. Because you're superior to others. You know more than others. You're speaking out to all these ideas that you shouldn't be speaking to. Because then it would cause conflict. Then it would cause discord. Then it would cause havoc. Then it would be all going wrong. So there's this fear of rocking the boat when it comes to your ideas, like disturbing the peace, just because, and all you want to do is express yourself. That's all you want to do. That's all these people want to do is express themselves for who they are, and they can't. They're taught not to. And so you feel like if you express your ideas unapologetically, then you are not worthy of being loved. If you share those ideas, then no one will love you. Everyone will reject you. Everyone will shame you. Everyone will be completely against every part of you because of this idea that you wanted to share from your mind, that you wanted to speak. And I also want to throw in from your heart. Feeling this this low self-worth issue when it comes to speaking your mind. Maybe you got into the mindset of not speaking your truth and dumbing yourself down in order to fit in. Like, if I just be quiet and stay silent and hold my thoughts in. Like, you have to understand, I have Mars and Gemini. I have all this Gemini energy. I do not believe in holding myself in. I do not believe in holding my thoughts in. I believe in letting them out and making them known and sharing my mind, sharing what I'm thinking, sharing what is on my mind to express, and, getting it out there and getting it off my chest and outwardly expressing it. So, maybe you were taught that you couldn't do this. And you had to just make yourself smaller. Like, you can't do this. Dim yourself down. Now you may sabotage yourself when it comes to your intelligence. You may hinder yourself. You may not allow yourself to continue learning things. You may not allow yourself to continue to grow in your own life and deepen your knowledge and deepen your understanding with things in life. That's what you may sabotage yourself to do. Where you also, not only that, but putting a filter behind it. Putting a filter behind what you're saying. Filtering out your words. Filtering out your truth. What this is, you're trying to engage. Instead, you engage in surface level conversation where you're trying to conceal yourself. It's like, if I just go along with the group, and if I just hold my truth in and try not to reveal too much information and intelligence about what I know and what my ideas are about this thing, then I'll be safe. Then I'll be accepted. Like, if I, reveal all these thoughts that I have and all these ideas, I won't be accepted. I won't be liked. I'll be judged. So that's, kind of what it comes down to at this. Trying to put on a charm, trying to put on a facade of being this soundbite person who just shares all these little insignificant trivial bits of information, because the real profound ideas that you have about things you feel like you can't express. There is this feeling like, this fear of expressing your ideas. That if you express your mind, they'll be put down by others. So, the thing is with this, is it's about practicing speaking up. Practicing speaking up. When you feel like, I can't express my opinion, I can't share my truth, then give your opinions. Share your opinions unapologetically. Like, share what these opinions are. Be real about your opinions and not be afraid to give them. And it's also about being intelligent without others shaming you for that. Putting yourself out there and being willing and being brave and being courageous to share your ideas without allowing others to shame you or reject you for sharing your ideas that are so wise and so intelligent. Put yourself in situations where people are not going to do that, are not going to shame your ideas, are not going to, reject you for expressing your ideas. You may have been taught to doubt your own mind and perception of reality. That it's not real. You may second guess yourself. I make a decision, but oh, what if the other person doesn't like it? Or oh, what if I'm wrong? And then you do that. Now, Gemini is an energy. Gemini is a sign. It sees all the different sides to things. Sees the good, the bad, the black, the white. One side of this, one perspective of this, another perspective of it. Like, it sees all the different facets of things. Sees multiple perspectives. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, where you show yourself publicly. You show one part of yourself publicly to the world. And you make that outwardly known and outwardly expressed. And then there is another part of you that you keep hidden because you're ashamed to express it. And and you feel conflicted. Like you feel like you're sitting on two seats at once. Like one part of you express, and the other part of you keep hidden away. And you feel separate. You feel conflicted. You feel like there's a separation between these parts. The key here is to integrate these parts of yourself. Bring them together into something cohesive. And express both sides of yourself, and not being afraid to express this hidden part of yourself. And so, keeping this part of yourself hidden gives you internal confusion. Like, it makes you feel confused on an internal level. Like, that's what it makes you feel. It's important to be with those that honor your ideas, accept you for your thoughts and perceptions. It's about, without judging you, without shaming you, being confident in your ideas and observations. Being very, very strong within yourself about what you think and what your ideas are and what those things actually mean, without being rejected or contradicted. Without that fear of being rejected or contradicted. Even if you are, you're okay because you know your ideas and you trust your own mind and you know your own mind and you're sticking to that. Now, over time, they learn very, very easily that their perceptions of life are actually correct. That your viewpoints of life and your perspectives are accurate. Well, your perceptions of things, like you perceive things, like you understand things in a way where you were taught like these things are false. Like this is not how it is. This is not realistic. Like saying something that you think about the world, like you say something that you think about the world, that you observe about the world, that you understand about the world, and then somebody comes in and says, no, that's wrong. And then this is the way it is. But you're finding out as you go through life to draw your own conclusions to things, to learn to be the student of your own life, to learn independently, to think for yourself, to be confident in your own views, in your own mind, and to understand that your perceptions are actually right, that you're not wrong in your perceptions, that those perceptions are actually valuable. When reality actually says that these things are valuable. It's like we have a mind for a reason, higher order thinking skills, analysis, analyzing the world, understanding the world through the mind. And you were taught, like, you're wrong. Your mind is flawed. Your brain is broken. You have to just rely on others to, tell you how it is. Sad. Very, very sad. So it's very important that you have therapy and communities that can accept your ideas, where you can share ideas freely. It's very, very important that you have this. That you have places and spaces where you can freely express your ideas, where everyone holds space and is open and receptive to you expressing your ideas. Your questions are accepted. Like, you ask questions and they're accepted. Your intelligence is celebrated for what it is, instead of shamed, and your perspectives add value. Now, this is about calming the nervous system's deep fear around thinking and speaking. Like, you feel a deep fear in your nervous system around thinking and speaking. You know, like when others reject you, your nervous system gets all ramped up, and you're like, should I speak this? Should I do this? Like, that's part of it. This is about being curious and asking questions to deepen understanding. And no intention to cause trouble or rebel. You just want to express yourself freely. So instead of asking questions, it's to, you're not trying to hurt others or cause battles and upset. You're just trying to understand the world better. You're just curious. You just want to understand what the world is about. What are the deeper aspects of the world? Understanding the world at a deeper, more profound level. That's all you're doing. Your circumstances shape your self-expression. Like the way that you grew up shapes the way that you express yourself as an adult. Just like, our upbringing shapes who we are as adults, when we're a child, and how it shapes our, adult life. So, your circumstances definitely impact this. And, your flexibility with your ideas, your adaptability, being able to think of all these different ideas, and be versatile and be open to all these different perspectives, is a strength. Like, your open-mindedness is a strength. It's important to form connections with those who respect your ideas and who want to hear them, and to want to hear you think out loud. Very, very important. So that is really, really huge with this particular placement. You don't need permission to think, and you don't need to apologize for your own thoughts. Like, you don't, like, there's this feeling of, like, I have to ask others for permission in order to share my ideas. But the reality is you don't. And you don't need to apologize for your thoughts. Like, you don't need to, it's about speaking your mind without apologizing for the ideas and thoughts that you have. And, you don't need others to give you permission. You give yourself permission, or you don't give yourself permission. I mean, that's your choice. Do you want to give yourself permission? Do you allow yourself the permission to speak your mind? That's up to you. There may be anxiety with speaking out in groups because, you may feel like your ideas will be invalidated there, getting interrupted there. You may be accustomed to being interrupted in group settings. Because you share, like, oh, I had this idea, but then the group members dismiss it. I think this is true for me. I've had problems in groups my whole school experience. I've tried to share an idea and they just shut it down. They just dismiss it like it's invaluable. It's not important. We don't want to deal with it. We're just ignoring it. We're just putting it aside. We're just pretending as if you didn't even say it. I felt like the times when I attempted to express my ideas, it was rejected by the other group members. It's like with your Lilith placement, it's like you attempt to do this, And when you attempt, it's so sad because others reject you. But it's about getting past that rejection and being true to yourself. Knowing that the world is a complex place. Some will accept you for who you are, some will not. Like, that's how the world is. Okay, the world is not black or white. So you may have fought for a voice in groups, or in conversation in general. You may have, just when there's a conversation going on, you may have fought for a voice, fought to speak. When you feel like you couldn't speak and you try to fight to voice your ideas, but you feel like you couldn't. There's this shame built into you. Like Lilith is your shame, and your shame is about expressing your ideas. So now the other downside of displacement you could fall into is being argumentative, being very, very argumentative, arguing over others, overconfidence in your ideas, saying that your ideas are superior, wiser, more intelligent, smarter than others. Putting others' ideas down and raising yours up, and then dismissing others' perspectives. Because, and the reason for this is that you want to voice your ideas so bad that you don't want to allow others to take over and voice their ideas and then reject your ideas. You want your ideas to be heard, you want your ideas to be noticed and seen and acknowledged, and you want your ideas to be the only one that matter because it's a shame. The only ideas that matter because it's a shame around this. Like that, like we can act in very, very selfish ways from insecurities, from wounds, from shame. And going back to that comment, I wonder if this person felt some insecurity when they commented what they did. I don't know what was going through their minds, but, they did not show the level of intelligence that I would like to see with the comments that I receive. Anyway. So this is about respecting others' perspectives. Yes, speak your truth and be unapologetically yourself, but it doesn't mean you have to dismiss that others' perspectives. Like, be open at the same time and speak clearly and offer opinions without apologizing. Offer your opinion without needing to apologize for that. It's very, very important. You can teach and empower others. You can teach and empower others to speak their mind, to question authority and what they're told. Like teaching others to speak their truth. Like to question the narrative. Like there's this lady on YouTube who does these videos where she questions all these narratives that you've been told and looks at sources and looks at things. Maybe I should see those videos, even though her ideas are kind of out there. I do think that there's a lot of valid points that she makes within those videos. And there are a fair amount of things that she says that I do agree with about schools in particular, about the whole system of that, and there's some things that I really don't agree with and that are just flat out wrong and inaccurate, but there are, I wonder if she has Lilith in Gemini, because her ideas are very, unique ideas, and I wonder if in her growing up, she was kind of told that she couldn't express these ideas, and now she's coming online and unapologetically sharing these things. Like, I wonder if she has this placement. So anyway, questioning authority. like not taking things at face value, like not taking what you're told and just accepting it, but questioning it, asking, why is this the way it is? Like, that's the point of having a mind, back to the song at the beginning of this video, is questioning why things are the way that they are. So, and then trusting your own perceptions also. You can ask hard questions, or hard questions about life, like really, really deep, hard questions, and then help others access their own knowing within themselves, their own knowledge within themselves, and claim that and be true to that. You can be willing to be truthful when others are not seeing the truth. So what can happen is you may find that others around you believe things that are not true, information that is not true. They believe lies. They believe a lie, and what you can do is be truthful and break the lie. Like everybody is believing a lie, and you can literally just break that lie where you can tell them, this is the truth of what's actually going on. This is what I think. These are my ideas. This is what is actually going on. Hear me out. Hear what I'm saying here. Like you can do that. Also, choosing your words with intention, like being very, 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 very important thing with this placement that I just want to say, try to avoid lying. Try to avoid lying. Try to avoid doing this, and the reason why you do lie is because you feel like if you speak the truth and you share your ideas, you'll be rejected for this. You'll be shut down for this. So be very, very mindful of when you lie about something and when you're not truthful, to make sure that you are being truthful and honest with what you're saying. So being very, very intentional with your words, making sure that they're honest words and that they're what you really believe and what you really think, and not what others want you to think. Not what others expect you to think, and not what others expect you to say, or saying something that you would want others to hear, because the thing is, you can lie to others and just tell them what you want, what others want you to hear. So being very, very mindful of that is very important throughout your life, being very aware of that. You can expose secrets that need to be revealed. Like any secret, you just dig up that secret. Well, you can really, really use your words in profound ways for speaking to the truth of things. Illuminating all that is unseen, all that is hidden, and speaking to the truth of what it actually is. And realizing that telling the truth is something loving that you can do, not something hurting. We're telling the truth to someone, not withholding the truth about your own ideas. Because I mentioned this before, that's actually a very, very uncompassionate thing. Like, whatever it is, lying to others is wrong. Lying is wrong. So, it is more loving to tell someone, dropping into your heart in a kind way, but in an honest way, like what you think about them, and what you have to say about them, and what the truth that you want to convey to them, and being honest with them. Because honesty builds trust, and, truth builds, what we live on truth. Our societal foundation is based on truth. So being honest in conversations. Like, this is what is actually going on. So not getting caught in lying. I use that word a lot. Caught, stuck. I'm trying to break out of that habit. Not lying. Avoiding the temptation to want to lie. And it's also a loving act to yourself. Like being true to yourself is also that. Exposing lies and any manipulations going on. Now, if you feel like you cannot express your truth, you get into this, you try to cover up this insecurity by making yourself feel better. when you feel insecure. Okay? When you feel like you can't express your ideas, you just want to soothe yourself, and you turn to manipulating others. You turn to and what does it mean to manipulate? This is a very Lilith and Gemini thing, looking up stuff. You're controlling or influencing people or situations to your own advantage, making them believe what you want to, and that's the downside of this. When I was reading, I was coming across the term gaslighting. I think gaslighting is huge with this placement, and what the characteristics and traits are about this. Yeah. It's about speaking the truth even if it's unpopular. Even if this truth will be rejected, even if nobody will believe this truth, even if it's totally wrong, and it's just totally wrong, it is your truth. It is your idea. You have your idea, so claim your idea. And speak that truth unapologetically. So integrate both your shadow and light side. Very important to integrate both of these sides of yourself. Focusing on listening without trying to change what the other person said. Like, part of Gemini energy is listening. So sharing your ideas and then listening and not trying to alter around what the other person said because their idea isn't as good as yours, and you don't want them to reject your idea, and you want them to take yourself seriously because you feel like your ideas will be rejected, so you so you try to change what the other person said. So it's about just openness and avoiding doing this. It's about claiming and teaching, quote unquote, dangerous knowledge. Like teaching this knowledge, like sharing this knowledge that you're afraid to speak in your groups and your conversations, like openly sharing this knowledge that you've kept hidden and expressing this knowledge that you feel like, when it comes to your Lilith placement, you feel like expressing it is taboo. Like you feel like this is the taboo element of yourself. It's not taboo. You've probably been conditioned or some internal psychological stuff that kind of makes it taboo, but it's about being willing to share this dangerous knowledge. You can use your intelligence and words to impact others in a positive way, to liberate others. Lift others up, free others. Like you can, by sharing your own ideas and truth, you can, allow others to freely express their ideas and their truth authentically. Being an independent thinker, thinking for yourself, and the freedom to change your mind. Like one of the Gemini lessons, and one of the gifts that Gemini has to give us is the gift of being able to change, being able to change your mind. Like Gemini teaches us that in Gemini energy, you're not bound to just one principle, one philosophy, one belief, one promise. You can change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. And you're going to change because you're going to learn new information, you're going to come to different conclusions, and you're going to grow as a person through that. So permission to change your mind when you come across new information. And saying the difficult things, like speaking to the difficult, hard truths, like saying the truths that nobody else is brave enough to say. You can, like, it's going to take work and it's going to take time, but if you do it enough where you can, like, you have this strong opportunity in this life to speak to the things that nobody is willing to speak to the truth that nobody else is willing to speak to, like that's your gift. And then, also maintaining your relationships, like not hurting your relationships doing this. Asking questions without shame is very, very important. Asking questions without feeling ashamed of your questions. This is not about becoming defensive. Not becoming defensive about your ideas and your opinions, and but being willing to be humble, to learn new information, and be curious, and like, oh, I had this idea, and I am hearing this other piece of information, and I'm integrating it, and I'm considering it, and I'm rethinking of it. So it's both the answer. It's not one way or the other. Like, I'm looking at both sides of this. I try to look at all the different sides of things. I don't just want to be biased toward one side, and I don't want to be preachy and negative Nelly with these placements. I want to treat them with truth and compassion. So, you don't need to win in conversation. Like, you do not need to win. You don't have to compete because you feel like others will reject you for your ideas, and not apologizing for your ideas. Not apologizing for those. Taking back your power of communication, expressing your ideas is very, very important. Tell the truth. Again, going back to tell the truth, just tell the truth is very, very important. Tell the truth even when it's hard to tell the truth, even when you feel afraid to tell the truth. Being aware when you're using words as weapons to hurt others. Be aware of when you're using words to empower and educate and liberate and free others. So, just be mindful of how you're using your words. Like, that is a very, very mindful thing with Lilith and Gemini. Not that you just have to shut down your ideas and not express that, but you're here to embrace and celebrate and really live out the power of words and the power of intellect. And you do have a choice. Like, will you be truthful and honest, or will you hurt others because you feel just this shame and this insecurity, and you're not allowing yourself to share your opinion, so you're taking others down, not allowing themselves to share their truth. So you do have a choice with this. And then allowing yourself to be seen and acknowledged, allowing the hidden part of yourself, the taboo part of yourself, to be seen and acknowledged. Integrating your private and public self. Very, very huge with this placement. Be with someone who express both the parts of you that you put out there publicly, and the part that you're hidden, like someone that sees you for who you are, sees your true colors, like sees you for you. And at the highest level, this person can be someone who trusts their own, knows and trusts their own mind and perceptions, speaks their truth unapologetically, and liberates others with speaking that truth. It's very, very important to understand that words have power, so use your words wisely. You may not be afraid of not being afraid to disagree with others because you have a different opinion, because you have a different idea, like not being afraid to do that. And your voice matters. Like, you matter. Your voice and your ideas matter. Your perspective is valid and adds value to the world. Your ideas and thoughts are unique. Like Lilith, when you embrace your Lilith sign, you are your unique self, and you're realizing it's okay to be myself. It's okay to be my weird self that others reject, and by my unique self. And with who I am. So embracing who you are is really part of Lilith energy, and having a and knowing that your unique voice add something to the symphony of life. Well, that's the instrument you're playing in the symphony of life, so play it. And they're using words to help others, to serve others. Huge. Okay, that is all that I want to discuss with this placement of Lilith in the sign of Gemini. I got through that in less time than I thought that I would. I just want to take a break after this. I'm very, I'm going to be doing other things. I'm going to be getting out of the house this afternoon, doing other things. Maybe taking a break from doing any other videos today because I need a break. I am exhausted from talking and thinking and doing all that. I'll be back tomorrow with the horoscopes for the weekly astrology video for the week of April, which today, April 1st, April 5th, my birthday week. My birthday is the 6th. The last podcast episode was my soul return chart, so if you want to find out more about that, then you can if you're interested. And also, I'm going to be talking about Mars and get this. I talked about the Aries full moon. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I talked about the Sun conjunct Neptune in Aries. I talked about the Aries, the Libra full moon, Libra Aries. I'm going to talk about Mars in Aries this week, and then next week I'm going to talk about the new moon in Aries. Like, I'm going to probably be talked out of Aries energy. I'm going to be talking a lot about Aries energy in the next couple of weeks, and then I'm going to talk about Gemini energy because I want to talk about Uranus and Gemini, and I may end up doing that for the week of April 26th, or when I get back from my hiatus hospital trip or whatever. But tune in for those videos on Mars and Aries, the collective one, and then one for your sign. And then I'm completing the Jupiter series of Jupiter through the signs. I'm doing the last episode in the series, and then I'll move on to talk about Saturn. I'll do the planet Saturn and what it's about, and I'm really delving into that planet and that placement. Then doing Saturn through the signs, and yeah. And over on my YouTube channel, I will be posting the videos that I filmed on my original channel about Saturn, but I do want to do podcast episodes about these Saturn placements, each individual one of them, because they're so profound and unique. So, anyway, I'm going to get off now. Thank you for tuning into the Vastness of Google podcast, and I will see you in the next episode.